Hey everyone, it's me again, and we're back this time to look at a new feature in Orchestra, and it's a pretty exciting one. Today, we're going to be looking at how to set up agents and skills to use within your Orchestra workspace. Now, I'm not going to get too into the details of the different use cases, we'll save that for another time. This is just going to be how to actually configure them and then where you can kind of start using them. So, if you want to know how to do that, let's get into it. Now, first of all, you might have noticed your Orchestra workspace has changed and now has this whole little agent chat bar at the top, but we'll save that for later. First of all, let's look at how we add skills to Orchestra. So if you've not written a skill before, what it mostly consists of is a name and a description of something you want to repeatedly do with agents. So to navigate to this page, go into agents, down to skills, and you can see we've put a couple in your account for you that you can use that we've kind of used for various demos. These will have the little Orchestra Managed label just to let you know they're not yours and that you're not going to like delete them by accident. To start adding your own though, just come up to Create Skill, and then you have the option to either upload them from a template. So if you've got a repo full of them or some markdown files locally or anything that you've downloaded from somewhere else, really, you can just upload it straight as a markdown file right into the skill. Or you can choose to paste it in or write one from scratch. And to do that, you're just going to give it a name, like test skill, and then you're just going to give it a description of kind of what it does. Like after that, the rest of this input is kind of yours to configure as you want. So whichever best practices of writing up skills, how to split them up or how to structure them you're following, we'll take it. So from here on, I could just start adding, my different sections and, do this, do that. But once I'm happy with my skill, it's just a case of clicking save. And there we go. We've created our first skill, which if we jump back into skills, we'll now see it here. I have the name, the description, when it was last created. Great. This now means I can reference this skill with agents that are in my Orchestra workspace. So let's go on to how to add some of those. Similarly, in the agents menu, I can jump back into agents. Once again, we've created an Orchestra managed one for you, which is a pipeline assistant, fairly obviously, which you can use to do things that we've kind of pre-curated about managing, fixing, and generally interacting with your pipelines. But let's create our own for now. So again, we're going to do create agent, and we get this nice little form that we can fill in various fields that will kind of define how the agent behaves and how it acts. Some of them obviously won't, such as name, but it'll help you remember what it does. So for now, I'm just going to make a fairly not useful, but example agent. So I'm going to call my agent Doggo. And my Doggo is going to be a very good boy because what Doggo isn't really. Then system prompt and response prompt are kind of the most hard to gauge fields in here, I suppose, where system prompt is going to tell the agent, this is how you should behave. This is what you should do and the things you should look for. Response prompt is going to be more about what you want to get back. So do you want this agent to return like a JSON to you? Do you want it to go and interact with something? Do you want it to just send you a bunch of text? All those kind of things. And once I've defined all the different components of my agent, I can even give it a avatar, which you can see is a very cute little corgi in this case. Once those main fields are configured, there's also the option to add things like secrets. So if your agent is going to need to interact with other platforms or other APIs or things like that that it needs to know about, you can put some credentials in here that will then get hashed. But most importantly, we can also give it the skills we created. So I can just assign any number of these. I'm just going to give it the one for now. That agent now definitely knows about that skill and can use it. You also have the option to provide this agent with Git access, It's obviously turned off by default, so it doesn't go and interact with lots of your code. But this is good if you want an agent that's going to apply like auto fixes or review code for you or anything like that. When all that's done, just click create. And there we go. We have our first agent in Orchestra. And as you probably noticed on the right-hand side, we're prompted to start talking to this agent and kind of seeing what it does to test that it works the way we expect it to. And once that's configured, I can actually start using the agents in various places. So the first one is going to be this chat window on the pipelines page. You can see here, I have an agent selected, and I can actually just select the one I just created and start talking to it, asking about my pipelines or whatever that agent is meant to do. Similarly, I can hop into agents and sessions and actually start a conversation with my agent and interact with it in that way. Similarly, I'll be able to come revisit other conversations I've had with it and start asking further prompts, digging into the details a bit more, things like that. And last but definitely not the least, I can add them in pipelines. So if I add a task like I usually would, I can now just add an agent in there. So I can select the agent that I created, I can give it a new prompt, and I can actually have this agent run right in the middle of a pipeline, do whatever it needs to do, and then carry on, which is pretty cool. So for that, go add your skills, define your agents, run them where you want to, and it'll be very cool to see what you build. So thanks. Cheers.